Hello guys, welcome back to our YouTube channel. In this video we are gonna see, what if Naruto was the heir of the Uzumaki clan and got harem? Part 6. If you want more awesome fan fiction like this, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. So without wasting any time, let's get into the video. What's going on? Naruto shouted as a large pillar of debris shot up into the sky in the distance. Orochimaru and Kuso are attacking the village. Genma shouted just as black blurs began to fly into the arena. Naruto swore as he saw Odo ninja and Kusa ninja all over the field and the wall of the arena. There was also some inside the stands where civilians were in shock, but Konoha ninja were already fighting them off, and Naruto saw a few dead bodies rolling down steps. He turned his attention to the silver-haired Jonin and his uncle. "The bad, I was looking forward to seeing you get your kicked," he said with a small frown. "You little," Kakashi began, but he was cut off when a group of Anbu landed in the middle of the ring by them. There were 4 and they each wore a different mask. The leader of the group had a wolf mask on, and it was he who spoke. "Kakashi-san, Hokage-sama has ordered all available Jonin to guard the civilians in the stands. He needs your abilities to help exterminate any enemy who tries to harm a Konoha civilian," the man said and then turned to Naruto. "Naruto-san, you are to help the village hide the Hokage that Orochimaru wants most. The Hokage has decided that you have the capabilities to lead your own squad, so you are to take Haruno Sakura, Yamanaka Ino, Nara Shikamaru, and move Uchiha Sasuke to safer quarters. Once done, you must protect him from the enemy," the man said and then turned to look at his squad and nodded before they all disappeared in a large black shunshin. "Damn it, I need to be here, I have some business to settle with that damn snake," Naruto grunted as he turned to Zabuza. "Hey Zabuza-sensei, think you and Haku can fight here while I take out the trash?" Naruto asked. "What do you mean?" Zabuza asked as Naruto looked at Sasuke. "I'm going to move him to a safer location and then I'll be back to finish the battle up," Naruto said and looked to the stands. "First I have to get my team together though, so be careful, and also Kakashi, go suck one," Naruto said before disappearing in a vortex of water. "Momoichi Zabuza, you are hereby under arrest," Kakashi began, but was cut off when Zabuza slashed at his face, making a small cut in his mask. "Shut it before I disregard my nephew's wishes and gut you like the damn coward you are," Zabuza said before Haku grabbed his shoulder and they disappeared in a cloud of ice mist. Naruto reappeared right in front of Sakura just as an enemy was flying at her. She was shocked by his sudden appearance, but what shocked her more was when she looked at the enemy and found him impaled upon Naruto's sword. She watched as the blonde turned and threw the body to the ground before holding his sword out in a ready position. "Come on, the Hokage ordered me to get a squad ready to get Sasuke faggot out of here," he said, and Sakura ignored the rude name he called her beloved. "Who else is going to be on our team?" Sakura asked, and Naruto pointed at Ino, who was about 10 feet away. "Ino and Shikamaru, where the hell is that S-head?" Naruto asked Sakura and she shrugged and squinted at Ino. "There, he's out cold, maybe he's injured," she said with some worry. "No," Naruto muttered, and the duo walked towards the blonde girl and the Nara. Naruto got close and Ino looked up with a gasp and was about to speak, but Sakura beat her to it. "What's wrong with him?" the pink-haired girl asked Ino. "I don't know, he just slumped over suddenly when the evasion started," the blonde ninja said, and Naruto snorted. There wasn't a genjutsu placed, but just to make sure, Naruto muttered and brought his foot back. "Wake up, stupid, and stop faking it," Naruto screamed as he slammed his foot into Shikamaru's side. "Jesus," Shikamaru cried as he was sent skidding down the row of chairs. "Take it easy, how troublesome," he muttered, and Naruto shook his head. "Lazy ass bastard, Hokage ordered me to get this team together, we gotta get the sack of shit out of the village so the pedophile doesn't shit-nap him," Naruto said, and Ino giggled at what Naruto said about Sasuke. "Sounds too complicated," Shikamaru said, and Naruto sighed. "Oh well, stop crying, we gotta get a move on now," Naruto said as he sensed a large group of enemy ninja approaching them. He reached out and grabbed Sakura by the front of her shirt, which made her blush because he accidentally grabbed her chest in the process. He grabbed Ino by her shoulder barely, and he brought his foot up into Shikamaru's crotch, making the boy wheeze out as his unborn children were sent back into oblivion. They all disappeared in a large hurricane of water just as a group of 15 Odo ninja broke through the wall next to them. Barry appeared back in the field where Genma was fighting against 4 Kusa ninja and seemed as though he was being overwhelmed. Naruto quickly released the blushing Sakura and the shocked Ino and unsheathed his sword and jumped at the fellow Konoha ninja. He landed next to him and in one swift movement beheaded a Kusa ninja that had lashed out at him with a kunai. Naruto lunged forward and lodged his sword into the gut of another ninja and turned and brought it up in an arc and then did another quick 180 and brought it down onto the head of another ninja. The first ninja was cut in half from the waist up, while the second ninja was cleaved perfectly in half. Naruto cursed as the last ninja suddenly appeared before him and stabbed down with a kunai. Naruto wouldn't be able to bring his sword up in time to block the blow since it was buried in the ground rather deep. He closed his eyes and got ready to try and dodge the stab, but before it hit him, he sensed the man stop moving suddenly. He looked up and saw the man standing above him, his kunai hovering mere inches from his face. He turned and saw Shikamaru crouch over painfully with his shadow elongated so that it was trapping the Kusa ninja. "Take this." He heard both Sakura and Ino scream suddenly. He ducked quickly as they flew over him and both of their feet smashed into the Kusa ninja's face, sending him rolling backwards. Naruto breathed a sigh of relief and nodded at each of his squad members. "Thanks kid, they almost had me there," Genma said as he clapped Naruto on the back. "Okay, well we gotta move out and fulfill Hokage's wishes so peace," Naruto said as he ran over to Sasuke's motionless body. He sneered at it and grabbed the boy painfully by the front of his shirt and threw him into the air. Hage Bunshin no Jutsu. The clone suddenly appeared in the air and caught Sasuke bridal style, and as it fell back to the ground it flung him around so that the unconscious boy was on his back. Naruto looked over at Gaara then and sighed sadly. He walked over to the red-haired boy and kneeled down in front of him and laid a hand on his forehead. "At least you can finally rest in peace, Gaara," Naruto said and stood to his feet again. "Let's go," he ordered and his comrades nodded and they took off running, making a diamond shape around the clone that carried Sasuke. Naruto led the diamond while Shikamaru brought up the rear. The two girls took either side of it and they made their way out of the arena. They ran through the streets where rubble was scattered around uselessly and so were bodies of both armies. Naruto ignored the deaths and kept on running so that he could get back to Konoha and fight the damn snake. He grunted when a group of Odo nin suddenly stepped out from around a building, blocking off the way out of the alley they were in. "Fall back, let me take care of this quick," Naruto said and ran through some hand seals. "Suiton. Suso Ichikoasu." Naruto shouted as a small ball of water no bigger than a basketball formed quickly in his hands. He launched them straight out in front of him, sending a large drill of water whirling at the group of enemies. In the group there were 6 ninja, after the attack there was only one and he was no in any condition to fight. "Move it fish," Naruto said as he jumped into the air and brought his foot down on the man's head, knocking him immediately and slamming him into the ground. "Let's go," he shouted and the 3 ninja behind him nodded and began to run again. "Naruto, where are we going?" Sakura asked as they ran through the forest in a direction she had never gone. "The spot where Tayuya took me for a date," Naruto said as thoughts of the pink-haired girl started to rise up in his head suddenly. "Where is she okay?" he wondered before shaking his head to clear the thoughts. "Oh okay," Sakura said as they continued to run. "Okay, we're going to stop here for a quick break," Naruto suddenly said as they stopped on top of a large tree and everyone slowly sank to the ground happily to rest their sore legs. They had been running at extreme speeds for about an hour now and that was taxing on the girls since they had smaller chakra reserves, Shikamaru because he had already fought in the exams and especially Naruto because he won the exams. Naruto leaned against a tree while Ino was standing next to Shikamaru muttering to him. His clone was still standing with Sasuke on his back and was just waiting for further order. Naruto closed his eyes and put his head back against a tree and sighed. "Damn, this sucks," he muttered. As he immersed himself within his thoughts he felt a sudden tap on his shoulder and he opened his eyes. Sakura was kneeling in front of him and she was pushing her index fingers together nervously. "What?" Naruto asked and she sighed. "Naruto, she said and threw herself against him and gave him a huge hug. "You little Ino," began as she saw the scene, but Shikamaru grabbed her and whispered in her ear. "Stop, you know how crappy their teamwork is, this is a giant step no leap forward for her." He muttered and Ino looked at him with anger before realization dawned on her. She's actually forging a friendship with him finally. She muttered and smiled. "Naruto, I'm so sorry for the way I've treated you in the past," Sakura said as she buried her face in his shoulder. Naruto could only make a weird noise. He was okay with girls hanging on him, but he was completely shocked at what was happening, it was so unexpected that he could give a straight answer. I know that I've put Sasuke on some kind of pedestal but after today I know that I have been blinded by some minor crush," she said and pulled away from Naruto and looked at him with tears on her face. "Okay?" Naruto replied completely dumbfounded. "After I saw Sasuke stab Gaara in the chest I took a look at our past as a team and even though it has been short and crappy I've realized that Sasuke hasn't saved my life even once every time I'm in danger. It's you who saves me, everyone for that matter," she said wiping away her tears with her right hand. "Sakura, it's fine," Naruto tried to say, this whole situation was just too weird for him. No, it's not. I've followed Sasuke around like a blind puppy, thinking that he was an almighty god, when really you're stronger than him. I don't even think Sasuke has feelings for me, despite our relationship, Naruto. Now that I think about it, I'm really starting to realize a simple truth, and it took Haruka and several others to point it out to me. Naruto, you're an awesome guy, she said, and smiled. Maybe after this is all over we can go out and get some ramen and actually make a connection, not just as teammates and for our team's sake, but for us, just so we can be friends. Sakura asked and Naruto stared at her in utter shock. She blushed from his look and looked away at the tree when he didn't say anything. I know I've treated you like crap, I don't blame you for not wanting to try and make a friendship with me now. I was just. Sakura, that'd be cool. It'd be nice to be friends with at least one person on my team. Naruto said and put a hand on her shoulder. I'm sorry for how I've treated you also. He said and she nodded with a grin. It's okay, I deserved it. She said and Naruto chuckled, letting his old personality fall back into place instead of his cold and hard one he had developed for missions. Now that we took a break, let's get going, my clone has had enough of holding that sack of shit. Naruto said and that earned laughter from all three of the ninja in the clearing and also his clone. They all stood and remade their formation and began to move again. Are we almost there yet? Ino asked tiredly as she did a front hand spring off the tree branch under her. Yeah, in fact it should be just up here. Naruto said and sure enough as they left the forest the giant lake with a large water slide made from rock appeared before them. Whoa, this is gorgeous. Sakura said as she took in the scene. That girl sure can pick a good spot for a date, Shikamaru said as he walked towards the small pond. Yeah, she can. Naruto said and looked at his clone. Put him down over there, he muttered, and the clone nodded and set him down where Naruto had pointed to. As soon as the clone stood up it disappeared in a small cloud of smoke and Naruto sat down with a sigh. So now what? Sakura asked Naruto, and he shrugged. Well, we have to wait, I'm going to go back to Konoha, but I have to catch my breath for a second, today has exhausted me. He said and the pink-haired girl nodded. Hey Naruto, Naruto? Ino asked and Naruto noted her abrupt ending of her adding kun to his name. Yeah, Ino? He asked as he looked at her. I was just wondering where did Tayuya go? I mean wasn't she part of Odo? Ino asked and Naruto stared at her before a lot of gears started to click inside his head. Shikamaru, get Sasuke, we have to move now. Naruto yelled. I can't believe it, she was a spy. He thought in anger. Why, what is it? He asked in concern, becoming completely serious. Tayuya, Odo-nin, enemy. Who showed me this spot? Naruto asked and Shikamaru cursed under his breath as he ran over to Sasuke and grabbed his shoulder. We gotta go now. Naruto yelled. Too late. A familiar female voice said. Naruto noted the small hint of sadness in it, but besides that it was completely emotionless. Tayuya. He said as he reverted back to his cold and battle-ready self. So you were an enemy all along, Naruto muttered as he looked into her green emerald eyes. Yeah, Orochimaru assigned me to watch you. Tayuya said sadly as she reached into her back pocket and pulled out a battle flute. I wish I didn't have to do this, she said, and Naruto snorted. Then don't leave Odo and come to Konoha. Naruto said and Tayuya shook her head. It's too late. She said and pulled her shirt down to reveal a mark somewhat similar to Sasuke's. He's marked me, I'm his slave. She said and Naruto stared at her in shock. But I should have seen it. He exclaimed and she shook her head. A simple yet very complex henge that Orochimaru put on me, she said and brought the flute up to her lips. Let's finish this quickly, Naruto. She said and blew softly into the flute. Naruto, Sakura said and stepped in front of him. Don't worry about it. Ino said as she stood next to Sakura. We got it. They both said together and ran at Tayuya. Naruto watched his teammates run at his well at Tayuya and he shook his head in anger and turned to Shikamaru. Let's go, they can handle things here. Naruto said and Shikamaru nodded as he hefted Sasuke onto his shoulders. Oh no, we can't have that now, can we? A voice suddenly said from the pond and Naruto stopped dead in his tracks. Shikamaru, run. He said as he felt the killer chakra radiating from the small pond. Only one thing can radiate that kind of chakra, Jinchuriki. Naruto thought. Bingo kid, I recognize this chakra, it's the Gobi no Wani, the five-tailed alligator. Natural affinity is water. Pretty laid back, but when battle comes he gets worked up and has an extreme sense of bloodlust. That's all I know though, as for his host, I have no idea what he's packing. Be careful. I don't want to die yet. Kyuubi said from within the blonde's mind. So what you're saying is that I'm all but screwed, Naruto said and got no reply. I'll take that as a yes then. He muttered as he turned to Shikamaru. What's the plan, dude? Shikamaru asked nervously, the killing intent leaking out was horrible and denser than anything Naruto had felt, it was even worse than Gaara's. I have one, Naruto said and grinned. Run. He screamed and pushed Shikamaru along. What about you? Shikamaru asked as he ran down the hill. I'll meet you in a second. Naruto yelled and ran toward Sakura and Ino. Sakura. Ino. He screamed and jumped into their fight. Tayuya had summoned two large demon creatures and was controlling them with her flute, but the sudden appearance of Naruto threw her off. "What the hell?" she muttered. "Let's go, we got a lot of trouble that we can't handle," Naruto said and grabbed both of them around the waist. He had found a natural resource of raw strength called fear within himself, and it was fueling him entirely right now. He wasn't afraid for himself, he was afraid that this man would kill his team and then destroy Konoha. "What?" Ino asked as she suddenly found herself looking at Sakura as they ran. "Naruto." Sakura yelled as he took off sprinting to the large concrete slab with water rushing down it. "Shut up and hold on." He screamed and jumped high into the air. He landed on the concrete slab focusing chakra into his feet and they went flying down the slab. The girls were screaming wildly not from enjoyment but from fear in its purest form. "Okay, listen," Naruto said quietly enough for only them to hear. "Do you guys know what Bijuu are, right?" "Yeah, demons like the Kyuubi no Kitsune. Why?" Sakura asked. "Because demons are sealed within people and well back there one of those people just appeared, they are called Jinchuriki." "Gaara was a Jinchuriki also," Naruto said. "We can't handle that man, he's just as strong," Naruto said as they raced down the concrete slab. "Naruto," Sakura muttered as she craned her head back. "We have to get a move on if we want to escape," Naruto continued. "Naruto." Sakura screamed. "Look." "What, Okami took me," he muttered as he looked back. Roaring down from the top of the hill was a giant wave of water, and on top of it was a form that wasn't easily recognizable due to the sun blaring on him, the light obscuring his features. "Faster!" Ino screamed. "Oh god, Naruto, faster!" she begged. "Hold on!" Naruto yelled and brought his hands together, which resulted in slightly crushing the girls. "Sorry," he muttered as he made a cross seal. "Age Bunshin no Jutsu." Suddenly 3 clones appeared in front of Naruto and they immediately laid down on the slid belly down and waited for the next phase of Naruto's plans. "Okay, get on their backs and balance yourselves with chakra. Don't use too much because they are using their own chakra to skim on the water," Naruto said and set the girls down on 2 of the clones' backs. He jumped up onto the middle clone's back and they all took off even faster. "Whoa, if we weren't running for our lives," Ino said. "This might be pretty fun." Sakura finished for her and turned around. "Oh god," she yelped. "Damn it," Naruto said as he looked at what she saw. The wave with the man on it was even closer now. Naruto swore and looked at both girls and grinned. The end of the concrete slab was coming up finally and he knew that they could now run across the water easier. "Okay guys, think you're up for a huge leap, we gotta get it right so that we land on the water and then just keep running," Naruto said and the girls nodded. "Okay Naruto," Sakura said and Naruto heard the worry in her voice. "Don't worry Sakura, nothing will happen to my teammates while I'm around," he said and she smiled. "Thanks Naruto," she said feeling more reassured. "Okay 1 2 3 jump." Naruto yelled and the trio jumped straight forward. They soared through the air and Naruto turned in midair and looked back just in time to see the giant wave crash down on his 3 clones and destroy them. "Close one, now let's go," he shouted as they landed and began to run like hell. Annoying little brats," Itachi muttered as he landed lightly on the water. "But I guess they completely forgot that my affinity is water," he said and sunk down into the lake. "Here Foxy, this gator won't bite," Itachi muttered evilly as he completely submerged himself. Naruto was seriously regretting taking this mission, hell he was regretting that he beat Kiba. As he was running he felt a sudden demonic chakra fly underneath him and he jumped back and stopped Ino and Sakura from straight towards the area where the man was now emerging from the lake. "What the hell?" Sakura muttered in fear as Itachi's killer intent washed over them. "Stay behind me," Naruto whispered fiercely and the girls jumped back a few feet. "Come on Kyuubi, get ready to hit me," he said mentally and heard a growl in response. "So, you're Naruto Uzumaki?" Itachi said as he completely emerged from the water. You're my age," Naruto said in shock as he looked at Itachi. "Yeah, now shut up and fight before you die," Itachi said as he flashed his bright white teeth that were razor sharp right now. "Sakura, no, get back further," Naruto said as he fell into a fighting stance. Cut. "Okay, so, since I haven't updated in forever, I decided that I'm going to write out the entire fight and everything in this chapter. Take this as my apology. Action." "Yes," Itachi said as green chakra began to pour from his skin. His pupils suddenly slit and his eyes turned a sickly yellow color. His fingers got a bit longer and his nails slowly extended out so that they were about an inch long and razor sharp. His hair went from blue to a sickly green color and Naruto knew that he was going into his first stage of transformation, only thing was, he was in control of it. "Let's start with 2 tails," Itachi said as the green chakra exploded and condensed around him. It took on the shape of his body and behind him swung 2 tails of green chakra. Achi fell down onto all fours and snarled at Naruto as a long snout made of chakra protruded from the cloak. Achi snarled and the snout opened to reveal razor-sharp chakra teeth, and Naruto knew that they were just as deadly as Achi's claws and abilities. Naruto Ino said worriedly. "Will you be okay?" she asked and Naruto shrugged. "I hope so. I need you guys to go further back again," Naruto said, and the girls nodded. "Not so fast," Achi said, and two pillars of rock shot out from the lake. They wrapped and held Ino and Sakura in a tight bounding. Naruto swore as Achi laughed wildly. "Surprise, I can use two elements," he said and grinned. The Gobi Jinchuriki raised his left hand and the pillars of rock began to rise, taking Sakura and Ino higher into the sky. "This way they don't die by accident. I want to save them for a treat later," Achi said and licked his lips. "What do you mean? Are you a cannibal?" Naruto asked in disgust. "No, I mean that blonde girl looks rather mature. She should be good in bed, don't you think?" Achi asked. Boom. Water exploded everywhere, and when it settled Naruto stood in a crouched position, his hands hovering just above the water. His red chakra cloak surrounded him, behind him swayed one tail of chakra. Or maybe the pink-haired girl, her chest is a bit smaller than the blonde girl's, but not by much. "I'm sure she can handle me," Achi said, and Naruto looked up from the lake water and into Achi's eyes. His eyes turned blood red as his pupils slit. Achi watched as another tail emerged from his lower back and joined the first tail. Naruto disappeared suddenly from sight and Achi heard a voice in his ear. "Squeal for me." Suddenly he felt Naruto's fist slam into his back and send him rocketing down to the bottom of the lake. Naruto stood with a snarl as he growled at the pile of oxygen bubbles that were quickly rising to the surface where Achi had gone under. "Is that all, Gator boy?" he asked with an evil and cold voice. Naruto stood and waited for something to happen when suddenly the lake surface began to bubble and the water went from a nice blue to a shining green that seemed to resonate from the bottom of the lake. Suddenly two large clawed arms of water shot from the lake and grabbed Naruto around his chest, pinning his arms to his sides. Suddenly the water beneath Naruto parted to the sides and revealed the bottom of the lake, which was only 200 feet or so deep. Like Moses did with the Red Sea, Naruto struggled against the water arms, but suddenly they were throwing him downwards into the rock bed beneath the lake. He slammed into the rock bed and it spider-webbed where he landed, and then suddenly it shattered and made a large crater. Achi appeared before him and slammed a fist into his gut, making the crater explode and became deeper and wider. Naruto coughed up blood but didn't stop fighting. He reached up and grabbed Achi's fist and squeezed as hard as he could. He felt the boy's triceps tearing and suddenly the bone in his forearm shattered. Achi screamed in anger and pain as he jumped back and held his arm to the side. Naruto got to his feet slowly and watched the arm start to heal itself, then suddenly it was as good as new. "Regeneration skills rock A?" Achi asked before the walls of water crashed into him, and when they returned to the sides of the water Achi was gone. Naruto had no idea which side of the lake he was on now and looked around looking and sensing for his presence. "Where are you?" Naruto roared and clawed at the water, but his arm slid in and then out of it. "Right here," Achi said as he flew past Naruto, but he clawed across the boy's chest, leaving a deep gouge in it. He disappeared back into the walls of water and Naruto bent over as Kyuubi healed his wound. Right when it healed he felt Achi fly over his back, leaving a deep gouge across his shoulder blades. Naruto shot straight up in pain and snarled. "Fight me like a real man, you little fish." Naruto screamed and Achi appeared in front of him. "Nah, I'll fight you like this," the Gobi Jinchuriki said and punched Naruto straight in the face. Naruto was sent flying backwards at speeds that would have Lee weeping if he saw them. Achi reappeared behind Naruto and kicked straight up. His foot smashed into Naruto's back and the blonde boy was sent flying upwards. As Naruto flew up Achi kept shooting from both sides of the water walls, clawing at the blonde and punching him. When Naruto began to fall Achi would begin to kick him up again, but not only up, but to the thighs and all around. Naruto could only helplessly try to guard himself from the unrelenting attacks. There was no way that he could stop Achi, he was on the boy's own terrain right now. Naruto only knew water jutsu, so he couldn't even use that against Achi with succession, and Kage Bunshin was out of the answer because the Gobi Jinchuriki would easily dispatch them. Naruto could only try and defend himself for all he was worth and hope for a miracle. "Come on, you have the strongest of all the Bijuu, and yet I'm killing you?" Achi asked as he appeared above Naruto. The blonde boy was bleeding profusely from the beating he had taken, there was gouges all over his chest, back, legs, and arms. Achi cut deep, but he never cut deep enough to kill, he was only toying with Naruto. "Shut up." Naruto screamed and lashed out with his right arm. It raked across Achi's cheek and left a long and deep gouge. "You're gonna pay for that one fish." Achi screamed and grabbed the front of Naruto's shirt. He slammed his forehead into Naruto's and then disappeared and reappeared beneath Naruto. He wrapped his arms around Naruto's chest and squeezed tightly. "Tell me how you like this." Achi screamed as H tilted backwards and he and Naruto began to fly downwards like a drill. This is like Lee's move. Naruto thought. They began to spin faster and faster and green chakra and red chakra branched out and whipped the water walls. Naruto grunted as he tried to break free of the attack but he was so disoriented now that he couldn't do anything. Take this. Achi screamed as he suddenly stopped spinning and did a front flip and threw Naruto down at the ground. The Gobi Jinchuriki landed on the water wall and began to sprint down and landed on the ground minutes before Naruto ever would. He clenched a hand and suddenly spears of water shot out from the lake and began to pierce Naruto's body in numerous places. After about 3 minutes Naruto hung limply as spears held him aloft in the water. He was inches from the ground and Achi only smirked at him. You pathetic, why does my uncle want you killed so badly? Achi asked Naruto as he held his hand down to his side. He made a claw and water began to gather in it until he had a perfect sphere of water floating in it. I've seen your little water drill attack and I'm impressed. It's close to one of Gobi's favorite attacks. Achi said as he grinned evilly. Now please for my sake die. Achi said and shot his hand forward. Suiton. Gyaburago. The water sphere exploded and it began to spin before a large alligator exploded from the point of the drill. Its jaws were open and were aimed directly at Naruto's chest. The blonde just let his head fall limply and he closed his eyes. Can you see anything? Sakura asked worriedly. No, we're too high up, but I can sense that one chakra getting stronger. Ino said and Sakura nodded. I don't think Naruto is winning. Sakura said and Ino nodded sadly. He may be strong, but after fighting Kiba, Gaara and Sasuke he is weakened and running here didn't help him out much. Sakura said and Ino sighed with regret. If only we could help him. She screamed, but the rock held her firm. Wait Ino, I see something. Sakura exclaimed and sure enough they saw the duo emerging from the water where the large opening was. Oh my god, he's destroying Naruto. Sakura screamed and Ino struggled more. Naruto-kun. Ino screamed as she saw the duo disappear as Achi latched onto Naruto's back and began to use a move used by Rock Lee. No, I just finally said sorry, he can't die now. Sakura screamed. Naruto. Naruto. Naruto's eyes snapped open suddenly and he looked at the alligator coming at him. I'm not going to die here. He screamed and red chakra erupted from his body. Achi was thrown backwards and the water that bound Naruto evaporated from intense heat. Achi was sent skidding backwards and when he stopped he looked and saw a raging pillar of white flames. He could only watch as the rock beneath Naruto was turned into diamond from the intense heat and density of the chakra. What the hell? Achi asked with a slight ting of fear in his voice. This should be interesting, the Kyuubi said as it felt Naruto getting angry. Don't lose control, kid. Are you ready to die now? A voice full of hate said and the flames died away slowly. Standing where the flames had originated was Naruto, but he no longer had the same red demon cloak. He now stood with red flames flickering over his entire body, but they were transparent. The tips of each flame were black and on top of Naruto's head were 2 5-inch tall fox ears that were red and had black tips. 3 real fox tails swung behind him and each was on fire that was entirely blood red until the tip of his tail where the fire turned completely black. The fire didn't look normal, in fact it looked almost like fur. If only the water around Naruto wasn't steaming, then Achi would have thought it was. Naruto looked up from the ground and looked directly at Achi and Achi froze. The blonde's eyes were different. Instead of having slided pupils like all Jinchuriki did, Naruto now had normal eyes, only his eyes were red and slowly pulsed. His pupils were normal. It was way more different than anything Achi had ever seen. What are you? Achi asked in fear. My name is Uzumaki Naruto. I am the Prince of Whirlpool. I am the jailer of the Kyuubi no Kitsune. I am the winner of the Chunin exams. I am the one who defends those he loves. I am your death. Naruto said and disappeared in a flash of intense fire. Achi couldn't react as Naruto's fist slammed into his face and sent him flying backwards. Achi felt his cheek flaking and when he looked at the skin he saw that it was entirely black. Oh my god. Achi muttered and jumped to his feet. He ran into the water to escape Naruto and he shot to the surface. Die you fish. Achi screamed as he slammed his hands together. The walls of water crashed together and buried Naruto at the bottom of the lake. Water beats fire. Achi said as he got to his feet and smirked. He began to walk away when he felt the lake began to boil around him, literally boil. He jumped up into the air and watched as a whirlpool began to swirl around and suddenly at the very bottom of it stood Naruto still in his three-tailed state. He was looking up at Achi with a bored look and he shook his head. Did you forget what I said? I'm the Prince of Whirlpool, of course I have an affinity for water, dumbass. The blonde said and began to run around the whirlpool. Achi could only watch as Naruto jumped to the surface and came to a halt and began to run through hand seals. You can thanks Kyuubi for this one. Naruto said as he jumped up at Achi and began to spin. His arms were out so that it looked like he was a drill. His flame cloak began to blur until suddenly he looked like a flying ball of flames. Shit. Itachi said and threw his hands up. A large wall of water rose high into the air and Naruto slammed into and there was an explosion of steam. Itachi couldn't react as Naruto slammed into him. Ahhhhhh. The Gobi Jinchuriki screamed as his flesh was burned from the intense flames. Naruto stopped spinning and as he came to a stop he grabbed Itachi by the neck, burning it even more, and threw him down at the lake. Kitsune Kaiten. Nagirabashi. Naruto slowly fell back down to the lake and landed lightly, and the water beneath him steamed as he walked towards Itachi's smoking body. The green chakra around the boy was fading, and Naruto knew he won. As he walked he felt a searing pain suddenly shoot up his leg, and he toppled. He looked down and saw that the fire on his leg was slowly disappearing. "I'm out of chakra," Naruto said in disbelief. "That sucks for you," Naruto heard Itachi suddenly say. He looked up and saw the boy standing, the green chakra cloak was back only now there was three tails swaying behind the boy and most of his burned flesh was healed. "I'm going to kill you and all of Konoha now," Itachi said and began to make hand seals. Naruto swore as he felt his cloak suddenly disperse and he fell flat on his face. His clothes were completely burned off. All he still wore were his pants which were now shorts that came down to his knees and also his gloves that Tayuya had given him. That was all. Naruto groaned as he used the last scrapes of his chakra to stay afloat. "It's time to die," Itachi said and there was a loud explosion and a blinding mass of green light filled the area. "Sarutobi-sensei look," Jiraiya exclaimed as he pointed at a large sphere of green chakra that had filled the horizon. "What the hell is that Orochimaru?" the Hokage demanded as he ran at his former student. "Ikusa really hates you so much that they are willing to stake their own Jinchuriki against you just to kill you all," Orochimaru said and Jiraiya swore. "The Gobi no Wani," the Toad Sage said and ran at his former teammate. "Let's finish this, sensei. Naruto can't handle a Bijuu by himself, he's just too exhausted and his seal won't hold up if he releases Kyuubi, hell he couldn't even control it," the man shouted. "Whoa, how troublesome," Shikamaru said as he dropped down to the ground. He almost fainted as a massive wave of killing intent washed over him. He shuddered violently and he looked down and saw Sasuke's eyes wide open. "What's going on?" the Uchiha demanded and Shikamaru looked up and his jaw dropped. "Damn it, answer me," Sasuke yelled. Shikamaru just pointed into the distance and Sasuke's eyes followed his gaze. "Holy shit," the Uchiha muttered as he saw a giant alligator. "Whoa," Naruto mumbled. He was laying on the concrete slab that the water slide had been made for, but it would no longer work since Naruto had created a crater that had pretty much snapped the slab in two. Itachi had released Gobi completely now and it stood roaring on the middle of the lake. Naruto was amazed at the sheer size of the beast. It took up half the lake and Naruto had to squint just to see its yellow and evil eyes. It stood on its hind legs, only it was crouched over and as his front stubby arms were at its sides in a fighting stance. 5 large reptilian tails swung behind it kicking up large waves. It had dark green skin that was bumpy and Naruto knew that it was almost impossible to puncture the skin. The lake seemed to be a puddle beneath the giant's feet and Naruto knew the kami would have to have some miracle planned if he wanted to survive this. "Fuck my life," Naruto screamed and the alligator shifted its attention to him. "Of course," Naruto muttered. "So you are the Kyuubi no Kitsune's host. You're pathetic trash beneath my feet. After I eat you and absorb that stupid fox, I'm going to destroy your damn village." The Bijuu roared and Naruto stared at it in horror. "Why, what big teeth you have," Naruto screamed so that the giant could hear him. "I mean seriously, it's about 600 feet tall." "You little brat," the Bijuu roared. "Man, brush those nasty ass teeth." Naruto screamed and laughed as the alligator glared at him. "Only I would try to piss off a Bijuu," he muttered to himself. The Gobi roared as it grabbed the 2 pillars of rock that held Ino and Sakura and broke them off. "These are your comrades, are they not?" the Gobi roared and laughed. "You better save them and fast then," the beast said as it raised its hand and a large sphere of water rose high into the air. It tossed the 2 girls into the water sphere and let it hover behind it. "Sakura no," Naruto screamed. "Die," the Gobi roared as it took a step forward. "Freeze," a cold voice suddenly said and Naruto could only stare in amazement at the person who stood before him. "Bara?" Naruto asked and the red-haired boy looked down at him. "Uzumaki, get up, fight with me," the boy said and Naruto watched as sand began to gather around the redhead. "Are you alive?" Naruto asked and the boy replied. "Yes, but get out of here now, I'm going to release Ichibi," Gaara said and Naruto slowly climbed to his feet. "Are you sure?" Naruto asked and Gaara nodded. "I met 2 people and they gave me these," the girl said. "This is for you," Gaara said and handed Naruto 3 small blue pellets. "She said she knew you'd lose the others," Gaara said and Naruto smirked. "Haku," he said simply. "And the man gave me this, he said to give it to you, and after the battle, you must slap it on Ichibi to press back its chakra," Gaara said, handing him a seal. "Zabuza, he came prepared," Naruto said, and Gaara nodded. "Now get back, I don't want to kill you here, I'm saving that for our next real fight," Gaara said, and Naruto laughed. He quickly swallowed the 3 pills and he felt all of his chakra replenish itself. Naruto slowly stood to his feet with a cold smirk. "Do it, I'll be right next to you," he said, and Gaara looked at him. "Are you sure?" Gaara asked, and Naruto nodded and made several quick hand seals. "Oh yeah," Naruto said. "Give me as much of your chakra that you can, Fox," Naruto said, and H heard the Kyuubi growl. "Are you gonna?" "Oh yeah. Fuchius no Jutsu. Fuchius no Akami." There were 2 large explosions of brown and red light, and when they faded, Shukaku stood on one side of the lake laughing insanely while Naruto rode on top of a massive summon. "Hey Gobi, you said something about eating me?" Kyuubi asked, and Naruto laughed evilly. "Summoning success," he said, and looked over at the giant sand wolf. "Oh look, Kyuubi and Gobi. It's a family reunion." Ichibi roared as At slammed its right forepaw down. "Well, I guess I should honor my stupid host's wishes. He wants me to destroy Gobi before I kill anyone else, and he did agree to release me if I honored those wishes," Akami said with a growl. "Time for some alligator jerky." "Ready, Kyuubi?" Naruto asked with a sadistic grin. "I was born ready," Kyuubi roared and jumped at Gobi. Akami dashed forward under the giant fox, and as Kyuubi slammed into Gobi's chest, Ichibi tackled its legs. The giant Bijuu toppled over with a roar and lashed out with its claws and raked against Kyuubi's side, earning a snarl of anger and pain from the giant being. Gobi grabbed Kyuubi by its forelegs and yanked him down into the water with him, and he brought his hind leg and around and kicked Akami in the face. The giant sand wolf jumped back with a growl. Kyuubi got to its feet and slammed its front paw down on the spot that Gobi should have been laying, but the Bijuu had rolled to the side and jumped to its feet already. "Damn, it's fast," Naruto said as he held onto one of Kyuubi's ears tightly. "Yeah, Gobi was noted for his speed. It doesn't help that we're fighting on his own terrain," Kyuubi replied mentally. "We only have one chance of beating him, but we can't really chance it here, the attack may hit your pathetic village," Kyuubi said, and Naruto snorted. "Then let's try to get Gobi where we are standing and we can launch our attack at him," Naruto said, and Kyuubi snorted. "Your comrades are behind us, the Nara and the Uchiha." The Kyuubi spit the last word out like a disgusting drink. "Damn, we don't have time for this." Ino and Sakura, Naruto muttered angrily and looked at the giant ball of water that was holding his teammates hostage. "We have to get them," Naruto said angrily. "Any ideas then, kid?" Kyuubi asked as the 9-tailed fox stared at Gobi and Ichibi fighting. "How long do you think I could last in 3-tailed state?" Naruto asked, and Kyuubi snorted, which resulted in a large wave shooting across the lake and splashing against Gobi and Ichibi's feet. "Kid, you can't even use the form completely, it drains your chakra, so when you run out, bye-bye Kyuubi summon. Then we'll see you fight against the Gobi with your weak pathetic powers," the Kyuubi said, and Naruto nodded. "This really sucks, maybe we can know, how about we?" "Kami," Naruto screamed in frustration. "Are you afraid of me, you fools? Or do you know that you cannot defeat me?" Gobi roared as it grabbed Ichibi by the neck and its single tail. It spun on its clawed heels and threw the great being high into the air. It slashed a single arm down at the giant being, and a long scythe of water launched out from the lake and flew at the demon. "Suiton. Mizuagama." The giant water scythe slammed into Ichibi's underbelly, and the sand wolf cried out in pain. It was sent hurtling through the air and slammed down into the forest that was bordering the lake, making the entire ground tremble from its fall. "Holy shit," Shikamaru muttered as he saw the giant sand wolf sent hurtling. The Kyuubi and 2 other giant summons, is that really Naruto fighting? He asked himself. "Yeah, I can see him," Sasuke muttered. He was in a sitting position now with his Sharingan activated. "He's on top of Kyuubi, but I don't know why," the Uchiha muttered. "Who knows, he is Naruto after all." Shikamaru muttered as he watched the titanic battle. His eyes drifted up and he saw the large sphere of water floating high above the water. "Hey, isn't that Ino and Sakura?" Shikamaru yelled in fright as he saw his comrade and her friend. "Where?" Sasuke asked, quick and curt. "There, in the large water sphere, that damn alligator thing must be holding them hostage," Shikamaru said, and Sasuke snorted. "Let's see if the dope can actually save his pathetic team," Sasuke said with a smirk. "If he fails here, he'll rise up and Konoha will acknowledge me as their savior," Sasuke thought with a small and evil smirk. "Okay, here's the plan, you're going to launch me at the water sphere," Naruto said, and the Kyuubi roared with laughter. "That's your plan? Okay, get ready to fail then," the monster said, and Naruto snorted. "Why would I fail? I can manipulate water due to my heritage, so I can easily make my way in and out," the blonde boy said, and the Kyuubi shook its head. Yeah, maybe normal water traced with your chakra, but that is a sphere of water, only it has a shitload of Gobi's chakra within it. Can you manipulate another Bijuu's chakra? Kyuubi asked and Naruto shook his head. I don't care, just do it, it's worth a try. Naruto said and the fox snorted. If you die, I swear, I'll use all my power to bring you back and then I'll kill you myself. Kyuubi said and held out his paw. Get on. He said and Naruto chuckled and jumped down into the fox's clawed paw. Okay, wait, are you gonna? Naruto asked and Kyuubi chuckled. Yup. The fox roared out loud and beeped its claw back and threw Naruto with its immense strength. Wah! Naruto screamed as he rocketed through the air. He brought his arms to his sides and adjusted himself so that he could get his teammates. I only have one chance at this, he muttered. He looked down and saw Kyuubi running beneath him, and he looked up and saw Gobi roaring and getting ready to grab him out of midair. Shit. He thought. Kyuubi suddenly lunged forward and tackled Gobi and knocked him down, just as Naruto flew overhead. A large wall of water flew up and blocked Naruto's path. He swore and roared with a battle cry as he focused his chakra to his fist and beeped it back. Move, fish, get out the way. Naruto screamed and smashed his fist into the water wall. A large hole blew apart in it, sending rain down to the earth, and Naruto kept flying through the hole he made. The water sphere was only 10 feet away. 1. Boom. Naruto slammed into the water sphere and whizzed through it. He felt Gobi's chakra burning at his skin, and he figured that it was because he was Jinchuriki, and so it was the two Bijuu's chakras fighting each other. As he flew towards the center of the water sphere where Sakura and Ino were struggling for oxygen, he spread his arms apart just as he reached them. As he flew past, he wrapped both his arms around their waists and kept going, only he pulled them with him. Shit, we're slowing down. Naruto cursed. Come on, Naruto think the blonde tried to come up with a way to get out of the water prison, but he had none. Wait. He thought and brought his hands together, and the action made Sakura and Ino move in front of him, completely halting them. They were only 40 feet away from the other side of the water sphere now. Age Bunshin no Jutsu. Naruto created a clone and it appeared behind him and already knew what it had to do. Naruto pulled Sakura and Ino closer to him and hugged them tight, and they knew that he must be planning something because they latched on for dear life. Naruto's clone began to make hand seals, and Naruto tensed himself for what was about to happen. This is going to hurt. He thought to himself. Suiton. Suryuiten no Jutsu. The large water dragon formed within the water and it flew at Naruto's back and slammed into him. Naruto felt a few of his ribs crack and he knew that this wasn't his brightest idea he ever had, but hey, it worked. The trio was propelled from the water and they shot out from the other side, but now they had a new problem. Ah! They all screamed as they fell through the air. Naruto swore silently. Naruto, do something. Ino screamed and Naruto sighed. I didn't think about this part of the plan. He muttered as they fell. Well, guess we're about to die. He asked himself. Come on, Kami, you gave me the last miracle and now give me another one. He shouted to the heavens. You hear something? Kami asked. Nope, just start the movie. Shinigami said as he popped a handful of popcorn into his mouth. Oh well. Kami said and hit play. Thanks. Naruto muttered as they fell. It was then that he saw a shape flying towards them. Hey, what's that? Sakura asked and his eyes widened as he saw what it was. It was none other than a 20-ton furball. Naruto sighed as he realized the complications that this was about to bring up. He threw Sakura and Ino into the air as he grabbed one of Kyuubi's ears and balanced himself on his head. The giant fox landed on the ground and skidded, tearing up the forest around them. Its tail shot up and grabbed both girls and gently set them down on its head next to Naruto where they stared at him in fear. This is the Kyuubi. Sakura screamed. Naruto muttered sheepishly. This is the Kyuubi, but for now let's just focus. Hey Furby, set us down over there and hurry up and end this battle, eh? Naruto said and Kyuubi growled. Watch it, mortal, I'm getting hungry. The giant demon said and the girls shuddered. Ah, stop lying, you can't eat me, and you know why. Naruto said and the Kyuubi growled. Grab on. The giant demon said as one of its 9 tails came up to its head. Let's go. Naruto said and jumped onto Kyuubi's tail and helped both girls up next to him. Kyuubi slowly brought his tail down, well slow to him, to Naruto, Sakura, and Ino it was super fast. As soon as they were on the ground they jumped off the tail and fell to the ground. Okay, I wish I hadn't come now. Ino said and Naruto nodded. All for that damn Uchiha. He muttered and both girls nodded. She's completely turned away from Sasuke, Naruto thought as he saw Sakura looking at him in anticipation. Where is Sasuke? Sakura asked and Naruto pointed to the other side of the lake. Over there with Shikamaru. Naruto said pointing at the area that his other teammate was. Okay, well, look out. Sakura screamed and Naruto turned and saw Gobi flying at them. Oh shit. He muttered as Gobi brought its arm back. Ah, you annoying insect. Gobi roared and slammed its massive claw down. No. Naruto screamed. Boom. Okami Shikamaru muttered as he saw the Gobi slammed its arm down where Naruto, Sakura, and Ino were. They're dead. He muttered. Let's get out of here. Sasuke muttered and stood to his feet. You're just going to abandon your team? We have to fight this fight and save Konoha. Shikamaru yelled at the stubborn raven-haired boy. You think we can fight those? Have fun then. Sasuke muttered and began to walk away. Stop. Shikamaru ordered and grabbed Sasuke's shoulder. Sasuke didn't even think about it, he just lashed out with all of his anger. He slammed his goof fist into Shikamaru's gut and then threw a roundhouse kick at his face. Shikamaru was sent flying into a tree where his head slammed into it and knocked him out. Fool. Sasuke muttered and began to walk again. As the dust settled, Sakura and Ino were surprised to find themselves unharmed. They were shaking violently and they looked at each other and then at the spot where Naruto had been. Naruto? Ino asked slowly. Stay back. Came a calm and cold voice. As the dust completely settled, it revealed Naruto in his three-tailed state. He was holding the Gobi's claw back with his right hand while his left one was hanging at his side. Are you okay? Sakura asked with concern. I'm fine, just get out of here quickly, I'll be right behind you. Naruto said as he struggled to keep Gobi's claw from crushing them. Are you sure? Ino asked. Oh? This is sapping my strength. Naruto screamed and the girls nodded their heads as they managed to get to their feet and start to run towards the village. Tell the Sandaime about this, tell him to get here quick. Naruto ordered and the girls nodded and disappeared into the woods. Foolish little mortal. Gobi roared as it pressed down harder with its claw. Naruto quickly stepped to the side and threw himself over the Gobi's hand so that he was crouching on it. He sprinted up the giant Bijuu's arm with insane speeds that rivaled Lee's own without his weights. Naruto set his sights on the area that he knew he should get to if he wanted to end this fight. Gobi tried to shake him off, but Naruto was stuck to the beast's arm with chakra. Naruto got to the beast's shoulder and ran up its head. He did a backflip and landed on the alligator's snout and looked into its eyes. Its yellow piercing eyes stared at him while he stared back with his blood-red eyes that pulsed. I will not allow you hurt the ones I hold precious. Naruto said and reached into his shorts and pulled out the seal that Zabuza had given Gaara. You fool. I will destroy you. Gobi roared and Naruto shook his head. No, he said and slammed the seal down on the beast's snout. You won't. Immediately the Gobi stumbled and Naruto could feel the immense chakra disappearing. Leave, go back to your cage, you stupid gator. Naruto said, and in a bright flash of light and a loud scream the Gobi no Wani was resealed with Itachi. Naruto had been atop of a 500-foot-tall alligator, and now that it was gone he was hurtling down to the earth with the Gobi Jinchuriki next to him. No, you can't beat me, Itachi yelled as they fell. This is it, for my village and the ones I protect, you lose. Naruto screamed as he made a cross seal. Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. The clone appeared next to Naruto and began to shape chakra inside Naruto's hand. Instead of blue chakra forming, it was instead red and seemed to glow with fire. What are you doing? Itachi asked as he looked at the attack in horror. I'm finishing this battle. Naruto said as the clone completed the jutsu. Instead of a normal and typical Rasengan in his on, Naruto now had a red Rasengan that had tendrils of red fire whipping around it. The ball of red chakra was only the size of a baseball, but Itachi knew that a lot of chakra was condensed into it. Naruto did a front flip and dove forward, his right hand with the Rasengan extended forward as he sped up. He snarled as he was mere inches from Itachi and both were about 20 feet from the ground. Don't ever come back here. Naruto screamed as he brought his on back and then slammed it down into Itachi's chest. Rasengan. There was an explosion of red as the sphere of chakra exploded and blasted Itachi down into the ground. The earth spider webbed under the boy as he made contact with it. Suddenly the ground compressed slightly before the earth shattered and Itachi was driven into a crater 15 feet deep. Naruto landed on the edge of the crater and toppled to one knee as his three-tailed form burned away. The black and red flames drifted up into the air as Naruto stared down at Itachi. That's what you get. He said and slowly stood to his feet. You fucker. Itachi weakly yelled as his head lolled to the side. He wasn't dead but merely unconscious. Naruto looked at him for a few seconds longer before looking up and seeing Kyuubi standing in front of him. Hey, I thought you would disperse if I used Three Tails form. Naruto asked and Kyuubi snorted. I'm absorbed some of your chakra before you went Three Tails, besides we have a new problem. Kyuubi said and Naruto looked up to see the Ichibi growling at them. Aw crap, he muttered as he thought about the events that just happened. I used a seal, he said, and Kyuubi dropped its head and shook it. No matter, we don't have time to dolly around here, we're both almost out of chakra because of today's events and your vigorous training. I'll use an attack, but it will drain me, you have to get Gaara to wake up. Kyuubi said as it planted its feet firmly on the ground. Wait, what? Naruto asked as the Kyuubi picked him up off the ground. You have one shot so don't tuck up, this attack will freeze a kami for a minute. Kyuubi said as it set Naruto on its head. What are you going to do? Naruto asked as he gained his balance on the giant demon. I'm going to use that attack I was talking about earlier. After I use it I'll dispel, but I'll have a time frame of 10 seconds. I'm going to hurl you at a kami after he is hit by the jutsu. Kyuubi said and Naruto scratched his head. What is going to happen? He asked and the giant fox chuckled. Just prepare a Rasengan and aim for Gaara. Kyuubi said as it reared its head back. One of its furry tails snuck up and wrapped around Naruto and brought him backwards in the air. Naruto could feel the muscles tensing up in the giant fox. It's time to die Kyuubi. A kami screamed as it jumped at Kyuubi. Naruto swore and quickly created a clone that landed on a tail that shot up to catch it. It began to shape the last amounts of chakra Naruto was able to call upon in his hand. It took a few seconds, but when it was complete he dismissed the clone and sat ready as a kami fell down upon them. Kyuubi roared as it shot its head forward and launched a giant ball of fire that flew at a kami in midair. The fire was white and the water beneath it hissed and steamed as the lake began to evaporate from the intense heat. Onikaten. Kami Nagarabashi. The giant ball of fire hit a kami dead on and there was a blinding light that lit up everything all the way to Konoha. Naruto had to shield his eyes as a wave of intense heat washed over him. When the light faded he saw a kami. No, he didn't see the giant sand wolf, he could actually see through the giant monster. Kyuubi wasted no time in completing the plan. Naruto felt Kyuubi flex the muscles in his tail once before suddenly he was shot straight forward at the demon made of pure glass. Naruto looked into its yellow eyes that were watching him carefully and bore a shitload of hate and anger. Naruto looked close and saw Gaara sleeping between both eyes. Naruto grunted and stretched his hand with the Rasengan out towards the boy as he flew. Wake up Gaara. Naruto screamed as he brought his hand back and thrust it forward into the forehead of the Akami. Time seemed to freeze as crack spider webbed along the entire demon's head. Naruto saw Gaara's eyes flutter for a second before they shut tight. Naruto ground his teeth together as he pushed the spiraling ball of chakra further into the glass demon. He poured all of the chakra remaining in his body into the attack. The ball of chakra seemed to increase in size as it began to crack and chip away at the giant demon. Rasengan of Grace. Naruto screamed as the Rasengan exploded and a large crater appeared in the demon's head. Gaara was sticking half out of it and was slumped over unconscious and Naruto began to make his way up the demon now shattered head. Gaara. Naruto called weakly as he grabbed the edge of the crater. Gaara, you have to, Naruto muttered as he collapsed next to the red head. Wake up. Naruto muttered as blackness took over his vision. He felt the Kyuubi disperse suddenly and he swore. We almost did it, but I'm just too tired. Naruto thought as his vision began to dim. He had just one small and simple task ahead of him and he couldn't do it. What kind of shinobi was he? Now a kami would run loose and destroy his village and kill Ino, Temari, Kiba, Jiraiya, Sakura, Shikamaru, Ichiraku, everyone he cared for. Naruto felt tears leaking out of his eyes as the last of his vision disappeared. You're so weak and you hold the title of Uzumaki. Fool. A voice said from within the darkness of his mind. Naruto couldn't respond as he felt the weakness take away all of his abilities. So you're going to let everyone die? You can't muster enough strength to finish this battle. Naruto felt anger as this voice ridiculed him relentlessly. The blackness he saw began to disappear in little white dots and soon he had his vision back even though it was a bit blurry. I will not fail. Naruto screamed as she lashed out weakly with his left fist and smashed it into Gaara's exposed face. The redhead's eyes shot open immediately and Naruto let his anger subside as he grinned at his demon brother. Uzumaki. Why didn't you sue the seal? Gaara asked as cracks began to spread out over Akami's body. I used it by accident earlier. Naruto said and blacked out. We shall meet soon, very soon Uzumaki. Was the last thing Naruto heard. So, I see this battle has been lost. Orochimaru said as he kneeled on his right knee. He was fending off attacks from both Jiraiya and Hiruzen. It's time for you to die, Snake. Jiraiya said as he slammed his fist into Orochimaru's face, only to have the body blow up in a shower of snake guts. We shall meet again, don't think that you have won here, I will enact my revenge upon you fools. Orochimaru screamed as he sank into the roof of the building they had been fighting on. Sensei. We have to pursue him. Jiraiya screamed as he slammed his fist into the roof and Hiruzen began to speak when all of a sudden two shapes landed on the building and ran towards them. Hokage-sama Ino said out of breath and collapsed to her hands and knees, breathing in lungful of air greedily. Naruto demons fighting Sakura panted and dropped to the ground coughing. Shit. The Bijuu Jiraiya muttered and took cover for the area where he had sensed the great beings at. When he arrived he only saw the very end results of things. All around large chunks of glass littered the ground. Jiraiya could sense a large amount of demonic chakra present in the glass, and he made sure not to cut himself, lest he get severe chakra poisoning, since yokai was poisonous to normal humans. Jiraiya watched as a shape gently set both Naruto and Gaara down. "Hey you." Jiraiya yelled and the person turned and looked at him. Jiraiya gasped when he saw the sound headband, and he was about to act when the person disappeared from sight. The only thing he saw was a flurry of pink hair. "I'm so sorry Naruto-kun," Tayuya muttered as she dashed madly through the woods. "Damn Uchiha." Shikamaru muttered as he finally came to. He looked around and found that the battle was already over. "How troublesome," Shikamaru muttered. "Damn Itachi." The Kusa leader screamed as he punched a large hole through his wooden table. "That damned Uzumaki, he's strong." Itachi thought as a group of Anbu converged on him and took him hostage so that they could torture him, no doubt. Where am I?" Naruto asked as his eyes opened slowly and he took in his surroundings. He felt soft sheets covering him and he heard a steady beat near his head, the walls boxing him in were plain white and there was a chair in the corner of the room. In that chair sat a sleeping figure, their head resting in their hand which was propped up on the arm of the chair. Naruto watched as Haku let out a low yet shallow breath before her chest rose with the intake of yet another breath. His eyes traveled away from her and down to his own body. His arms were wrapped from the wrists up to the elbows with bandage and he saw that his entire torso was also. His legs felt heavy and he slowly shifted, swinging them out and over the side of the bed. He rested his right elbow on his knee and set his forehead in the open palm of his hand and tried to remember everything. There was the invasion and Genma, he told me to protect Sasuke. We got away from the village when Itachi showed up. He released the Gobi and it took Ino and Sakura hostage. I summoned the QB and used 3 taels worth of chakra. At this remembrance of the past, Naruto felt a cold shiver race through his body and he gritted his teeth. "Then I had to beat Gaara and the next thing I knew," Naruto thought and looked up. "So I'm in the hospital, but how long have I been here for?" Naruto asked himself quietly. "About a week now. You suffered extreme chakra depletion. Hell, if Jiraiya hadn't found you and brought you back you would have died probably." A rough and familiar voice said from the window behind him. Naruto turned and saw Zabuza sitting on the ledge with his sword leaning against the wall. "I've been out for a week." Naruto mumbled and stood to his feet, letting the covers fall away. He only wore a pair of black shorts. "What happened? Where's everyone at?" he asked and Zabuza chuckled. "Just got out of a coma and you're already asking about everyone and everything." Zabuza muttered before looking over at the sleeping form of Haku. "She's been here every day and night looking after you. She didn't let anyone come in this room without checking them first. She actually found someone who had a syringe full of poison that they were going to inject you with, killed him right then and there," Zabuza said, and the girl he had mentioned shifted in her sleep. Naruto had no answer besides to look at Zabuza, hoping that his uncle would answer his previous question. Zabuza obviously understood what the look meant since he began to recount what happened in the invasion. "After you left, a good-size army invaded the arena, but Konoha had already been expecting this kind of attack and they were able to organize themselves quickly enough. Me and Haku helped fight off the invading forces and when she heard that they needed ninja to go and hold the academy she ran from my side. I didn't see her again until they were hauling your ass in. That guy who trained you and the Hokage were up on the building fighting that snake bastard Orochimaru and after a while I saw him retreat. Suddenly forces began to pull out and then the rounding up of the wounded began. It took most of the day until I finally heard about where you were and when I got here you were already stabilized and under watch from Haku. None of that really matters though because what does matter is the events of this last week." Zabuza muttered and Naruto raised an eyebrow in question. "What do you mean?" Naruto asked. "You know those old tucks on the council? What are their names? Wrinkles and saggy tits?" Zabuza muttered and Naruto chuckled. "Yeah, I know who they are. They and that Danzo guy always were giving the Hokage trouble about me," Naruto said and Zabuza shrugged. "Well, they've been calling for your banishment for the last 5 days. The civilian council is backing them on it, but most of the clan heads are waiting for you to awaken before they cast their vote," Zabuza said and Naruto stiffened and looked down at the ground. "Hey, those tuckers." Naruto growled angrily and stood to his feet. Killing intent was began to roll off him and Zabuza chuckled darkly. "Okay, hold on, let's not make any rash decisions," Zabuza said and rubbed his forehead. "You know they are going to call for yours and Haku's execution?" Naruto asked and Zabuza grinned. "Oh yeah, in fact I already dealt with a few annoying jonin who tried to kill me," Zabuza said. "Let's go," Naruto said and walked from the room, leaving Haku to continue resting in her chair, or so he thought. "This should be interesting," she suddenly muttered to Zabuza, who nodded his head. "Yeah, let's go," he said and Haku stood to her feet slowly, stretching out her cramped muscles before following the demon of the mist. Council chambers. "Sarutobi, you heard Uchiha Sasuke's story. Uzumaki Naruto blindly left him alone in the battlefield, and then Nara Shikamaru attacked him when he tried to go and join the fight. That is defying your direct orders and endangering the last surviving member of the Uchiha clan. Also look at his atrocious actions at the exams. He raised his hand against Jonin Hot-Aki Kakashi and was harboring an A-ranked missing nin within our walls. He has committed treason, and he shouldn't receive even this light of a punishment. The demon should be put to death. Hamura yelled angrily, and Saratobi rubbed the bridge of his nose in annoyance. Hamura, will you, he began, but was cut off as the chamber doors slammed open, letting a large amount of light to flood in. You bastards. A voice growled darkly. Naruto stepped into better view, and many of the council, the civilian side, gasped at the sudden intrusion of the demon. What are you doing here, you sick little tuck? A pink-haired woman screamed, and many people in the room covered their ears. Following Naruto was Zabuza with his giant sword resting over his right shoulder, and next to him stood the seemingly shy Haku, who was looking at Naruto in worry. Hey old man, what the hell is going on? I've been out for a week and these old wrinkly tucks have been trying to banish me. Naruto said and glared at the civilian council. The shinobi council, who had been slouching in their seats since they were not taking any real part in this, sat up noting that things were going to get exciting. Oh yeah, grinned Inuzuka Tsume, her teeth flashing a bright white. Oh boy. Nara Shukaku said, rubbing his eyes to clear them. Naruto, you need not worry yourself with these matters, all will be settled. The Hokage said with a sigh. Hokage, I request that you leave the room. I can handle these problems right now. Naruto said darkly with killing intent rolling off his body. Naruto, I cannot do that. The Hokage said, and Naruto grinned. Oh well. No, on whose charge is it that I be banished? Naruto asked, his killing intent disappearing suddenly, and it seemed as though the temperature dropped a few degrees. It is on Uchiha Sasuke's, the sole surviving member of his clan. Danzo spoke up and Naruto looked at him. Bring him in, bring in Sasuke, Sakura, Ino, Shikamaru, Gaara, and also bring in that tuck-face Itachi. Naruto said and Hamura chuckled. No can do, brat. Sasuke doesn't have to be around filth like you, and we have detained the demons known as Gaara and Itachi for their crimes against our city. Shikamaru is being held in a cell for his assault on Uchiha Sasuke, he can't be released at this time. As for Ino and Sakura, Hamura began before being cut off. My baby will not go near you, demonic ass. If you so much as look at her again I will kill you. QP. The pink-haired woman shouted, and suddenly everything froze. Shut up. Naruto suddenly growled mere inches from the pink-haired woman's suddenly shocked face. Shut up before I rip your tucking eyes out, you nasty-looking slut. Naruto growled, and people could see the trembles racing through his body. Naruto, stand back please, the Hokage said, and Naruto waited for a few seconds before he stepped back, never moving his glare from Haruno's face. Ioku Haruno, under penalty of breaking the law set in place by me on the night of the Kyuubi attack, I sentence you to death 3 nights from today. The Hokage said, and the civilian council became deathly quiet. You cannot do that, Hokage-sama. Kaharu accused, and the Hokage looked at him. I can, and I did. I set that law in place, and the rule was obvious, and so was the penalty. Haruno has broken it, and so she shall suffer her own wrong decisions. The Hokage said and waved his hand. Anbu, please detain her. With that simple order, a black shape detached itself from the wall and grabs the pink-haired woman in the blink of an eye before disappearing from sight. Also, Hamura, you shall not speak for the shinobi of this village. I can order any shinobi within these walls to do whatever I may please. After my say comes Yamanaka Ino's father's word. The Hokage said and looked at the blonde-haired man. What is it you say, Inoichi? He asked, and Inoichi chuckled. Bring her in. He said, enjoying the look of anger across Hamura's face. A few hours later. Okay, so let's get this settled. The Hokage said, and Naruto grinned at the enraged look on many faces. Naruto is to be banished. Sasuke yelled as he stood up from his chair. Why is that? Gaara asked, looking at Sasuke with a plain look. Shut up, you filth, don't speak to me. Sasuke spit and Naruto shook his head. Shut up, you gay-ass failure. Naruto said and stood to his feet. Why is it that I should be banished for false accusations? It was me who saved this village from 2 Bijuu, well technically 1 but still. I tucking watched that gay ass as he passed out from his loss at the Chunin exams. It was me who saved Sakura and Ino from the Gobi. It was me who suppressed both the Ichibi and the Gobi, and this see, the thanks I get. You take Sasuke's side when you weren't event here and he was out like a light. You worthless pieces of shit. How did you get on this council even? Whose beat did you suck and whose ass did you kiss, because I know that Gigi didn't put you on there. Naruto yelled, and suddenly there were protesting yells from everywhere. Shut up. Itachi screamed suddenly, and his Anbu guards tightened their grip on him. God damn you vultures, just shut up and give me quietness. He ordered Ankle-Sota's eyes. Everyone was silent, staring at him before chaos broke out again. Shut up. The Hokage screamed and Itachi thanked Kami for the order. "I will have order." He screamed and everyone became silent. "Shikamaru, did you ever attack Sasuke?" The Hokage asked and Shikamaru nodded. "Oh yeah, I kicked his ass in the exams," Shikamaru said and Sasuke hissed. "But after that I didn't touch the fag," Shikamaru said with a shrug and leaned back. "He awoke when I was watching him and tried to run from the battle instead of helping his teammates out and I grabbed his shoulder to stop him and he attacked me." Shikamaru finished and the Hokage nodded. "Sasuke, is this true?" he asked even though he knew the true answer. "No, why would I waste my time on such scum?" Sasuke asked and the Hokage sighed. "Lying little tuck," he mumbled so only a select few people could hear and they all laughed at the insult. "Sakura, was Sasuke awake at any time that you saw him?" the Hokage asked and she laughed. "Yeah, he was," she said and Sasuke smirked at Naruto with a look saying, "I win." "Told you, old man. Naruto is a liar," Sasuke said. He was awake when Naruto was kicking his ass, but he was knocked out the entire time that he was placed under Naruto's care. "I didn't know he even came to during the fight," the pink-haired girl said and Sasuke stared at her. "You little slut," he screamed. The Hokage continued ignoring the whining Uchiha. "Is it true that Naruto saved yours and Sakura's lives and then told you to find me so that I could come and help end his battle?" he asked the blonde girl. "Yes, Hokage, he rescued us from the water sphere we were trapped in," she said and the Hokage nodded. "Tell me, what was Naruto fighting against?" the Hokage asked and Ino replied with a touch of fright. "Against that kid right there," Ino said and pointed at Itachi who opened a single eye and looked at her. "He turned into some giant alligator, the evil coming from it was horrendous." She shuddered. "Sounds like a good description of a Bijuu," the Hokage mumbled and stroked his beard. "You, Itachi, did you release you Bijuu, and if you did so who is it that defeated you?" the Hokage asked. "It was me," Sasuke screamed trying to take credit. "Nope, wasn't the duck-ass-haired kid," Itachi grumbled and looked at Naruto with a look of contempt but hidden respect. "It was that runt right there and yeah, I did release the Gobi no Wani," Itachi said before becoming silent again. "Who are you calling runt?" Naruto yelled accusingly, but Itachi didn't answer. "Sasuke, you say you defeated this demon, right?" the Hokage asked and Sasuke puffed out his chest. "Yeah, I did," he said beepily. "How did you do so when you were found a good distance from the battle?" Naruto was found heavily injured and also very close to both Gaara and Itachi. "Does this mean you attacked him also?" the Hokage asked and Sasuke snorted. "I knew what I had to do and I did it and then got the hell out of Dodge to come back to the village," Sasuke said, triumph in his eyes. "But that means you abandoned your teammate," the Hokage mused and Sasuke froze. "Busted?" Naruto laughed and Sasuke glared at him. "Shut up, you sorry excuse for a human. Your dad must have been a lonely tucking loser who did nothing for this village and got bored one night and tucked the nearest prostitute he could find. I feel sad for the skanky fish who calls you her son," Sasuke said, killing intent rolling off him. Naruto jumped to his feet and began to run at Sasuke, but suddenly something else happened. Bam! Everyone in the chamber found themselves staring at Zabuza holding Sasuke up against the wall by his neck and from the looks of it, he was squeezing very tight. Sasuke was struggling to breath and his face was red, but Zabuza didn't let up. "If you ever say something like that about my sister, I will rip your intestines out and strangle you with them as I shove your own femur up your ass and out your mouth. Do you understand?" Zabuza screamed and everyone stared with horror as he hurled Sasuke to the floor, which began to cough violently. "Root!" Danzo screamed and suddenly a multitude of black shapes began to bust into room and they surrounded Zabuza, who grabbed his sword. There were at least 15 of the Root Anbu in the room and Naruto wasted no time and jumped into the battle, which meant plowing into the nearest member who grunted as he was trampled. "Haku!" Naruto yelled and suddenly a mini version of the Fourth Great Shinobi War broke out in the chamber. More Root Anbu began to appear in the chamber and several found themselves circling around Naruto, Zabuza, and Haku. Gaara was busy dealing with 2 members by himself and Itachi had elbowed both his guards in the groins before jumping to his feet and dashing from the room. Naruto watched as Sasuke growled and followed the Jinchuriki in anger. Naruto grinned and kicked the nearest ninja and ran from the room himself. "Come here, you freak, I am going to kill you," Sasuke screamed in a deranged voice at the retreating back of Itachi. "Screw you, emo fag," Itachi yelled back with a chuckle as he took a right and began running towards large building that loomed up into the sky. Sasuke followed and when he took in the details he realized that he was running straight to the arena. "I'm going to kill him," Sasuke said with a dark frown and ran through the doorway. Itachi stopped when he reached the middle of the field and looked around. His hair blew to the side with a gentle breeze and he jumped backwards just as Sasuke's foot slammed down on the spot where he used to be. "Damn!" Achi muttered as a sudden flare of pain shot through his chest, reminding him that he couldn't overdo it with the wound he suffered. He looked at Sasuke though, and looked down at the boy's arm, and saw that it was now in better condition than it was when he first saw the Uchiha. The medics must have really been working on the boy's arm, because it was nearly healed. All that was left was the cuts along his arm, and they were wrapped in bandage. "There you guys are." Achi heard the familiar voice of Naruto as the blonde ran into the arena with a wicked look on his face. "Sasuke, oh Sasuke, Kakashi interrupted our last fight, did he not? Oh, come here." Sasuke yelled and made a series of hand seals. "Pain. Kakaku no Jutsu." The large ball of fire suddenly flew from Sasuke's mouth and raced towards Naruto, who grinned evilly before sidestepping the lame attack. "That it?" Naruto asked and cracked his neck and disappeared from sight, and Sasuke felt a fist slam into his gut before Naruto's elbow crashed down into his neck, dropping him to his knees. Naruto then delivered a spinning kick to the boy's side and sent him rolling across the ground. "Well then," Achi muttered and began to walk away. "Now so fast," Naruto said and reappeared in front of Achi. "You called me a runt." Wham! Achi was sent flying into the sky, and Naruto jumped up after him and delivered a kick to his chest that sent him flying down at the ground. He hit with a large explosion of dirt, and Naruto landed next to him lightly and smirked. "Oh, I'll give them a reason to banish me." Naruto screamed and suddenly he froze. He felt a sharp pain in his chest, and he dropped to his knees. He clutched at his heart, not able to figure out what was wrong. Sasuke was still picking himself up, and Achi was moaning in the hole he had just formed. "It is almost time, Uzumaki, almost time it is. Are you prepared for it?" Naruto opened his eyes and began standing to his feet when he suddenly felt a foot kick him in the face and send him flying backwards into a heap. "Oh, you shouldn't have touched me." Sasuke muttered and looked at Naruto with black flames racing across his face, a purple menacing chakra enveloping him. "Do you think you scare me or something?" Naruto asked, getting up to his feet, and suddenly he felt Sasuke's knee in his gut. "What the hell? I can't even see him." Naruto thought as Sasuke's fist came up and smashed into his face, throwing him backwards. Sasuke began to assault Naruto without mercy, and Naruto was getting pissed, but he couldn't feel the other chakra there. "Hey fur dog, where are you?" Naruto yelled as Sasuke's fist slammed into his chest and sent him down into the ground. "Better yet, why the hell am I so weak?" Naruto asked and rolled to the side as Sasuke brought his fist down at his head. Naruto spun on his back and knocked Sasuke's feet from underneath him, only the boy flipped back and did a backhand spring, landing a few yards away from Naruto. "Seems that you're not a strong dope," Sasuke said with a smirk. "Nope, I'm kind of tired from saving the entire village." "You wouldn't know because you were sleeping," Naruto said as he ran at Sasuke. He threw a fist at the boy's face, but before it could make contact it was stopped dead by Sasuke's own hand. "This power, it makes me stronger," Sasuke said as he closed his eyes. "Combined with my own strength. It makes you about as strong as a girl." Naruto finished the sentence, and Sasuke opened his eyes in anger. Naruto cursed when he saw himself looking at Sasuke's Sharingan. "It makes me invincible," Sasuke said and slammed his knee into Naruto's gut, picked the blonde up, and slammed him down into the ground. He began to run through hand seals very quickly before landing on the last one. "Pain. Kakaku no Jutsu." Sasuke blew a large fireball down at Naruto, and there was an explosion of heat. "Wrong move, fag," Naruto said as he slowly stood, fire engulfing his entire body. "Wait, so I can't use any of my chakra?" Naruto demanded, and the Kyuubi sighed. "No, you can't. Something is blocking it as we speak, hence the reason you are here. I fear that it is too late to stop this course of action that is taking place." The Kyuubi muttered and Naruto cupped a hand to his ear. "What was that, big guy?" he yelled. "I said shut up." The Kyuubi roared and Naruto clenched his fists. "Why can't I do anything? Why? You're telling me that someone just took control of my life for me?" Naruto screamed enraged. "Pretty much." Kyuubi sighed. To say Sasuke was sacred was an understatement. He shit his pants. Before him stood Naruto, only there was no way in hell this was Naruto. Before him, stepping out of the fire that Sasuke had blown upon him, was Naruto, only Sasuke didn't feel the same power coming from this Naruto. He felt so much power he wanted to fall to his knees and beg for mercy. Sasuke took a step back and Naruto finally stepped completely out of the fire and into better view. His skin was very pale, almost white, his eyes were no longer blue, but instead they were pitch black and had blue slits for pupils. Naruto's fingernails were extended into claws that looked razor sharp, and his teeth were no longer human with two sharp canines. Instead they were all sharp and were bright white. Naruto's hair was the same, only streaks of black began to slowly fade into existence, and soon they were dark and heavy streaks. "You are about to die, Sasuke," Naruto said in a voice that showed only coldness. The blonde raised his hand into the air, a sphere of darkness began to form and swirl in the open palm. "Dope." Sasuke whispered in fear as the power he once held suddenly vanished and he felt his Sharingan deactivate. "No. I am not Naruto, you blinded fool. I am so much more, I am Uzumaki Shai." Shai said and held the sphere of blackness in front of him. "That fool has not this power easily." Shai said and stood in front of Sasuke and looked at him with contempt. Your eyes would be helpful to me, but fear not, you will not feel the pain of becoming blind, for I plan to completely eradicate you from the realm of living. Goodbye, human known as Uchiha Sasuke." Shai said and slammed the sphere of darkness down. Kuroira Senshi. There was a sudden halt in Shai's plans though. Before the ball of death could hit Sasuke, Shai's arm was stopped and encased in an iceberg. "What is this?" Shai asked himself as the sphere of death crackled and tried to reach Sasuke, who passed out suddenly, a large wet stain forming on the crotch of his pants. Shai raised his other arm, only it was encased in a large pillar of sand that suddenly shot up and grabbed it. Shai growled in a very animalistic way as he turned his head and saw Haku, Zabuza, and Gaara all staring at him. "Naruto?" Haku whispered and Shai laughed. "I am that fool but no longer him." Shai said and tried to pull his arms loose and felt the ice start to give. "It has begun, Haku." Zabuza said as he dashed forward and slammed his open palm into Shai's Naruto's forehead. "Kuroi Kai." Suddenly Shai's black eyes faded and Naruto's original features began to appear, and before the old Naruto could even respond he slumped over unconscious, a seal with a kanji for suppress on his forehead. "We have little time to transport him to a different area for the ascension period. We must move quickly. Gaara, have you made your choice yet?" Zabuza said and looked at the red-headed boy. "Yes, I shall follow Uzumaki on his path and help him." Gaara said and Zabuza nodded. "Good, grab that brat there and let's go." Zabuza said and grabbed Naruto as the ice holding one hand melted and turned to water and the sand fell to the ground in a pile. It reformed and wrapped around Itachi before picking him up and making him float behind Gaara as the trio left. It didn't take until they were all out of Konoha heading back to Uzumaki, the land that Naruto ruled over. "What the hell?" Naruto yelled as he looked around. "I was back in the real world with control again, and now I'm back here." The blonde cursed and looked around for the Kyuubi, but found him nowhere. Instead he found himself looking at a barren land where nothing was living. The soil beneath his feet was whitish gray, and in the distance to his right he saw white mountains rising and falling. His left land seemed to stretch on forever. The sky was pitch black, there was no stars nor was there a moon, but for some reason there was light that Naruto could see by. There were trees all around, but they were dead and were a light brown color. "Where am I?" Naruto asked and suddenly he felt a cold presence appear before him. At first it was hazy and held no shape besides for two eyes that were black with blue slits in the middle. Then it finally took on a shape that made Naruto tremble. He was looking at himself, only this self had pitch black hair, pale skin, razor sharp teeth and claws, like Naruto's own whisker marks on his cheeks, and also behind the figure was a set of wings. They were black as the sky and were large on the teen's body. They were about as long as his body, connected at the boy's shoulder joints on his back, curved up until they got to his head, then stretched back down until they reached his knees where they fanned off finally. Naruto stood stock still staring at this being in front of him until finally he asked the first thing he could think of. "Are you some kind of angel?" he asked. "You make me laugh, fool." The teen spoke in a cold hard voice. "I am you. Run, you tucking retard." Naruto heard the Kyuubi suddenly screamed and he didn't waste time arguing with the demon for once. Kuroi Kai equals black release. Kuroira Senshi equals black spiraling sphere of abyss, aka sphere of death. Amik. "Hey Sakura, where's sensei?" Naruto asked with a bored tone. "Late like always." Sakura said with a sigh and looked over at where Sasuke stood. "But he is just going to train Sasuke, so who cares?" Sakura asked and Naruto shrugged. True, but oh matter because you and me can train, eh?" Naruto said, nudging her arm with his fist, and she giggled and gave him a small smile. "Sure, why not?" she said, and they walked away together rambling about anything they felt like. Only Sasuke had seen their interaction and he was jealous. Very jealous. "That's it, Sakura, keep trying, just focus your chakra into it, then throw it. It makes a grenade type object." Naruto explained as he poured his own chakra into a ball and threw it far away from him where it exploded, taking out a small tree. "Awesome," Sakura said as she did the same with a smaller explosion. "Yup, way cooler than anything Sasuke can do, right?" Naruto said, sensing that Sasuke had followed them. "Totally, but don't teach him it, he'd get too much stronger, especially if he used this with his kunai or shuriken," Sakura said, catching on to Naruto's game. Sasuke was angry now and so he stormed back to the area where Kakashi was supposed to meet them and found the silver-haired Jonin reading his book. He glared at his sensei who looked up at him. "Hey, where are the other two?" he asked with annoyance. They're secretly training and won't teach me the technique they are using. Sasuke said with anger, and Kakashi shut his book and walked towards the area that his other students were at. I'll make them teach you. Kakashi muttered. But Sensei Sasuke doesn't deserve it. Sakura said, and Naruto sighed. Fine, he can have it, but I'm not going to show him how, I'll just tell him. Naruto said with a shrug. Just do it, dope. Sasuke demanded, and Naruto sighed. Fine, you just have to pour your chakra into an object and then throw it while trying to withdraw your chakra. Naruto said, and Sasuke smirked. That's too easy for me, and Uchiha. Sasuke said and grabbed a kunai from his pouch and began to focus it. Sasuke? Kakashi asked. Sasuke grinned and threw the kunai, pulling back his chakra, all of it though. Sasuke screamed as natural affinity for fire suddenly ignited and began to burn his hands. Did I forget to mention that you have to take these super awesome pills before you can properly do it? Naruto said, holding out a large bag of black spherical pills. Naruto, you idiot, you hurt your teammate. Kakashi yelled. Sasuke patted the fire out and slowly took the pills and stared at them. I ate 40 of them and did it perfect, the less you take the weaker it shows you are. Naruto said, and Sasuke smirked. How many you got, dope? He demanded, and Naruto held out a giant bag of black pills. Oh yes, Naruto has found the use for them. Sasuke quickly ate the entire bag of pills, which amounted to about 100 small black pills. Sasuke stared at his teammates with a grin on his face before suddenly everything went dead silent. There was a low rumble. Kakashi stared at Sasuke, his jaw slowly dropping as he recognized that sound. Sasuke looked down and then looked up at Naruto, who was grinning evilly. Return of mega fart. Naruto said, and Sasuke grabbed his stomach as a small fart blew out of his ass. Sakura, remembering the effects of her pills, stepped back a few feet and Naruto did the same. Sasuke hunched over as another fart came out a lot louder and longer than the first. He fell to his knees, grasping his stomach in pain, and a wet fart came out and he groaned with agony. I have the antidote right here, Naruto mused and held up a red ball that was the size of an acorn. Sasuke quickly grabbed it and swallowed it, and suddenly his face turned purple and the rumbling stopped. Naruto, what did you do? Kakashi asked as Sasuke fell over and began to rock back and forth. I gave him the antidote, which doesn't work without the original pill, which means it has twice the effect of the original. Naruto said with a shrug and watched as Sasuke cried out. A brown chakra began to swirl around him. Oh my. Boom. There was a rage explosion and Team 7 was thrown backwards as Sasuke screamed. A large fountain of brown liquid was raising high into the sky. Naruto was rolling on the ground, gagging and laughing, while Kakashi made his way slowly toward Sasuke, guarding his face from the toxic winds. It hurts. Sasuke screamed as tears ran down his face, only for a fart to come out and the shit fountain exploded again, drenching Kakashi in brown. I made a little pill that'll make you crap. If you fucking eat it, I'm going to snap. Not because of anger, just because of fun. Because you'll be brown before the geyser's done. Naruto sang out as a geyser continued to roar out of Sasuke's ass, and a new one joined the mix as Kakashi threw up his lunch and dinner from 5 years ago. Sakura was fascinated by the display and she turned to Naruto. Whoa, she muttered, and Naruto chuckled. Watch this, he said and yelled to Sasuke. Hey Sasuke, I think you shit your pants, but you're going to hate what happens next. He yelled, and suddenly the geyser of shit stopped. Sasuke whimpered and suddenly he was launched into the air by a geyser of yellow liquid. That's gross. Sakura said and fell on her ass laughing. Yeah, too bad I slipped you the pill. Naruto said and walked away just as Sakura launched into the sky, followed by Brown. Chapter end. Alright, that's it for today's video, guys. Let me know in the comments section how was the story, and also don't forget to like, share and subscribe. I will meet you in another video. Peace out.